Welcome to the season of self-love, your daily dose of inspiration and encouragement. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery. Are you ready to elevate your mindset and embrace the power of self-love? Well, you've come to the right place. Each day we'll dive into topics that will empower and inspire you on your journey towards self-discovery and personal growth. Whether you're looking to cultivate healthy relationships, boost your confidence, or find balance in your life, this podcast is here to support your every step on the way. We believe that self-love is the foundation of living a fulfilled and joyful life. And together we explore practical tips, insightful interviews, and transformative stories that will leave you feeling inspired and motivated. So join me Monday through Friday as we embark on this daily adventure of self-love. Tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast to start your day on a positive note and discover the limitless potential within yourself. It is Friday, November 10, 2023, and I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are listening to me here now on the Season of Self-Love. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I welcome you back. Over the past few days, we have truly been talking about self-love. Well, we've been on this transformative journey and exploring many facets of self-love and how it profoundly impacts our lives. But today we are diving into the heart of what can truly propel us forward. And that's self-belief. It's that inner flame that lights the way to your personal growth and success. So let's talk about it. This episode is called Believe, Unlocking the Power Within. And whether you're just starting to just fan the flames, or you are knee deep in it, looking at the fire, putting your hands in and out of the fire, this episode is for you. And as we talked about yesterday, we're going to talk about some things repetitively, because we have to. We have to. And so what I want to start off with this first is talking about building self-belief. Building self-belief. And self-belief is the foundation upon which we build the life we dream of. It's the voice that whispers, you can do it, even when the odds seem stacked against us. But let's be real. Self-doubt can be loud, intruding, filling our minds with limiting beliefs that say we are not good enough. Well, I've been there in the grips of doubt, but I felt the power of silencing it with positive self-talk and affirmations. Let's explore on how to cultivate those strong beliefs in ourselves, one that can withstand the storms of doubt and fear. And if you were listening to the podcast yesterday, I talked about that. I talked about overcoming those limited beliefs. And I even talked about where they were rooted from. And if you haven't listened to yesterday's podcast, I advise you to go back and listen to it. Because there are some key things that I talk about in that one. We're going to talk about this one too, but I just wanted to make note to make sure that you do. And a lot of things is about overcoming the obstacles through beliefs. Okay, so now let's share some inspiration. I've heard stories that have left me in awe, and people who against all odds overcome incredible challenges simply because they believed they could. And one of those examples for me have been Tyler Perry. I remember following this man from the very beginning of his career. I remember when he first did his very first play in Chicago, and he did it at the Regal Theater. This was an old theater that was on the south side of Chicago, or the southeast side of Chicago. One of the most popular And I believe it was black owned theaters that they can. And I remember it was a little raggedy, but I remember going to those plays in the beginning of his career. And I remember he was the one that actually put the bug in me that I wanted to write plays or I wanted to write books. I didn't even think about screenwriting at that moment. At that time, it was more about writing books, writing plays like that. Telling a story. And that was something that I liked about Tyler Perry. And I was always excited when his play was to come to Chicago. But then when I saw that he finally took it to the big screen, it was amazing because I heard his story about him sleeping in his car, about him, using his credit cards or, he was homeless, but he believed in himself so much that he knew that that was what he needed to do. And for me, those stories like that what keeps me going. That would say, yeah, you can do this. You can do this. And it's about him not being into that limited belief mindset. And that's why I always say it's about the mindset. A fixed mindset tells us about our abilities are static. But a growth mindset, that's where we see obstacles and opportunities to learn and grow from. I always receive this message during my prayer meditation, is that things happen for you and not to you. Meaning that the things that happen in your life, whether they are good or bad, and I'm going to keep repeating this, these are learning material. These are lessons for you to learn so you can apply them in your present and in your future. So when certain things come that are similar to that have happened, now you know how to react. Okay, and then I will share some more practical tips to help you make the shift and starting seeing challenges as stepping stones and not roadblocks. Okay. So if you're sitting at your desk or you're just sitting at home, listening to this, just pull out a piece of paper real fast, real quick. I just want to share these 5. I just want to share 5 tips with you. It's a lot more, but I just want you to start off with this. Number 1, I want you to embrace your growth mindset. Adopt the belief that challenges provide opportunities for growth and learning. And see setbacks, as temporary and view them as chances to improve and develop your resilience. So remember when I said before about looking at them as lessons or a learning, aspect of it. That's what I mean. So then the next time something like that shows up, that it better teach you how to react or how to, receive it or what's going on. All right, number 2, refrain from your thinking. Instead of seeing challenges as problems to be solved, refrain from them as an opportunity for your personal development and self-improvement. Focus on the potential of the lessons and positive outcomes that could come from overcoming obstacles. I am so tongue-tied this morning, I'm not even understanding. I'm sitting here drinking my yogi tea in my beautiful intention mug, sunflower mug. Here, the self-love. So you know that self-love sunflower mugs that I'm promoting right now. Yes, it is. Again, another shameless plug, but I just had to, put that in just a little bit. So since I had to take a sip of my tea, I was like, at least put in that little shameless plug, for the mugs. But anyway, as I was speaking about the refrain from thinking, and like I said, instead of looking at it as a challenge, kind of look at it as a problem to be solved. Look at it as something to be solved. And for me now, and it might sound strange, but I get off to that, meaning that, okay, if there's a problem, okay, now how can I solve it? And when I start to do the research on solving some situations or problems, or even asking questions, and that goes with the research, or even just looking within, and finding out how to solve that problem, it's amazing. And you feel so much better about yourself. I promise you will. Number 3, here it is. Practice self-compassion. Be kind and understanding towards yourself when facing challenges. Treat yourself with the same empathy and support you will give to a friend. And remember that setbacks and failures are a natural part of life, and they don't define your worth or abilities. And if you think about it, you think about some of the most successful people. Know that they were not successful overnight. Excuse me. Oprah would not be, excuse me. Oprah would not be Oprah Winfrey without failures. Michael Jordan would not be Michael Jordan without failures. I just spoke of Tyler Perry would not be Tyler Perry without failures. These multi-billionaires will not be successful without failures. And I put myself in those categories. So if you start to align yourself with those people, meaning that you know that they had to get there somehow, and knowing that they had to go through failures because they're not supernatural. So knowing that they had to do A, B, C, and D, and might have felt that C. Maybe he had to go back to do C several different times. When you look at Beyonce, when you look at all of these certain celebrities that are, doing great in their chosen profession, know that there were obstacles with that. And they were persistent on getting through those obstacles. They believed in themselves, even when people said that they couldn't. Tina Turner, oh my God, that is just one of the many examples of believing in yourself. And break it down. Rather than you get so overwhelmed by the size of the complexity of a challenge, break it down into smaller, more manageable tasks. This approach allows you to tackle one step at a time and making the process less daunting and more achievable. When I tell you this is something that I needed less than about 4 or 5 years ago, oh my God. I remember, matter of fact, almost 10 years ago, I remember when I was transitioning from the adult industry and creating my own cosmetic brand. Man, you talk about somebody that was scared because I did not know if anybody was going to see me any different than who Nyomi Banks was as an adult film star versus now Nyomi Banks as a businesswoman. At that moment, I had a limited belief of myself because I was hearing what others were saying or what I couldn't do. Fast forward 10 years later, I've had several different businesses. And actually, I speak about it in my ebook about unlocking your door to success. I've been at that door of success many, many times with the key in my hand. I've opened that door and walked in those spaces. But a lot of times what kept me in those spaces was my belief and believing in myself. And what kept me out of those doors, and I'm going to be very honest, was that self-doubt. And at that time, I didn't have the tools that I have now. That's the difference. So now I know that everything is more achievable. Instead of me allowing that overwhelmness get to me and it allows it to attack my anxiety, where it just put me down on my ass, I now break them down and say, okay, you don't have to do all of this at one time. Okay, let's do this first one. Okay, what's this about? Then I check myself. Okay, so why do you feel this way? Is it the fear that's getting there? Okay, so let's what is fear? Is fear real? You know, these are self things and self that I talk to myself about. And then I switch it up with that positive affirmation self-talk. I promise y'all I ain't preaching. I'm not. But I just, man, let me keep going. Cultivating beliefs in a relationship. What I want to do, I want to take a quick break and then I'm going to come back before I end this show. And I want to talk about the cultivating relationships with yourself and with others. And I have two more that I want to talk about too. But I want to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and then we're going to talk about cultivating beliefs in relationships. All right. This is your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on the season of self-love. And we will be right back.
Hey, this is Dog Pound Mike from Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast. Come check us out every week. And remember, I'm no relationship expert. I just tell it like I hear it from the kennel. Get back at it.
Have you ever felt like you're standing at the door to success, key in the hand, but something's holding you back? Well, you're not alone. My new ebook, Unlocking Your Door to Success, is your guide to healing and overcoming those internal struggles. If you want to learn more and step into your success, go to stand.store/elevate-me-self-discovery. Get your free ebook for a limited time. Hey, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. And I am your host, Nyomi Banks. And before the break, we were talking about that I was going to talk about cultivating beliefs in relationships. All right, believe in ourselves also transform us on how we show up in our relationships. It's a difference between setting boundaries with confidence or letting others dictate our worth. And when we believe in ourselves, we make choices to reflect on our value. We'll talk about how to cultivate the self-beliefs and how it can lead to a healthier, more supportive relationship. You know, for me, and I believe I spoke about it a few days ago about setting boundaries within yourself. And this is a prime example of when you set boundaries for yourself and you know what those boundaries are, you can show up better for others, showing them what that boundary is for you and knowing what your worth is, if that makes sense. All right, so I just want to share a few tips with you on how to do that. If you're stuck, I want to show you, first of all, is recognizing what your strengths are. Take inventory on your skills, your talents, and your achievements. Celebrate your success and use them as evidence of your ability. Now, I'm not talking about, standing there with, pounding your chest and say, I did that. Not like that. But when people come to you and they say certain things and they try to make you feel like you're less than, you can just stand there and stand in your truth. Have that imaginary, S. And I say S is for success, or G for goddess or gods or whatever you want to call yourself, whatever that imaginary superhero of you that is. Let that show up. And what I mean when showing up, show up with grace. You don't have to throw it at them, Use that as an armor or say, I hear them saying all of that, but that ain't me. Actually, it gives you like, what? They saying all of that? That's what they think of themselves. So then that gives you a choice. Do I want to align myself with this energy? Do I want to be in that same space with those people or with that person? Y'all understand what I'm saying? So even within that, recognizing your strength, it allows you to know on who and what is deserving to be in your space. Who and what is deserving to be around you. Who or what is deserving to share that energy with you, if that explains it. Challenge that negative talk. Identify and challenge the negative thoughts and beliefs that are undermined in your self-belief. And as I continually say, replace it with positive affirmation. Realistic self-appraisal. Realistic self-appraisal. And I'm going to share one more with you. Set realistic goals. Break down your goals into achievable steps. And as you accomplish each small milestone, your self-belief will grow, encourage you to take on bigger challenges. So remember yesterday when I was saying to dream big, go wild? Yes, do that. But know that there are levels and there are steps to them. So it's like we can't walk before we crawl. Well, actually, my little one did walk before she crawled. But you all know what I'm saying. Well, actually, she was like taking that one leg and sliding it. Okay, I just went off a little bit. But y'all understand what I'm saying. So start off with the small goals and then, go from there, and take that next step and then keep going and keep going. You know what I mean? And keep going like that. And that will build your self-belief. And man, when I tell you, as I am sitting here right now, talking on this podcast, you do not know how much belief that I have in myself. Man, remember I told y'all yesterday about me I'm standing there. I see myself standing there as a phenomenal goddess. And that light is just shining all over me like a nice big old bubble. That is what I'm feeling at this moment, at this time, sitting here talking to you on this podcast. Yes, because I made the leap and I made the choice to believe in myself and say, you can do this on a daily. You know what your podcast is doing for this world and what it can do for the future. Period. All right, and my next one is embracing self-love and belief. I just gave you a little bit tidbit of that, a little bit. But self-love and belief are two sides of the same coin. And you can't have one without the other. So embracing our flaws and all, it fuels our belief in our own worth. And saying that, remember I said, know what your strengths are. Know what your weaknesses are. Know all of those things and embrace them. And if you don't know what that look like, I do have, oh my goodness. And why I say this because I did a course not too long ago about embracing your self-love, or falling in love with self. And I have yet to release it to the public, to everyone, but I will be doing that soon. But I do have an ebook that I do speak about that in there with different journal challenges, tips, exercise and stuff and that for that. But also I ask that you go to do the 30-day self-love, practicing self-love challenge. And that's one of the first things that I have in a challenge is about embracing who you are. And that's embracing your imperfections, embracing your everything. Because a lot of people would like to use those imperfections as weapons against you. But if you already know what they are and you embrace them and you okay with them, because what that is that builds your character. That's a part of your makeup. That's the ingredients of your soul. Then what else anybody else say, they ain't got nothing to do with you. That's their stuff. Does that make sense to y'all? And something else that can help you is that practicing, it can help us, practicing that self-love and other things, it can help nurture your relationship with ourselves. Here's a few of them, and I do it every day. A gratitude journaling. What are you thankful for? And what that does, it reminds you of your worth on a daily. Self-care routines that show you how to love, that show you love for yourself in action. I've started every morning doing this ritual in the mirror. And I use African soap. And I do a deep cleansing and washing of my face. And as I'm doing that, I am humming of a positive affirmations to myself. And just to get the blood flowing in my face. And then I do a nice little oil treatment, to my face. I get up every morning, I fix my bed. Every morning, fix my bed. Now, if you would ask me if I did that 2 years ago, I'd be like, nope. I get up out of my bed, go do whatever I do, go to work, do whatever I'm doing. But now I get up every morning. I fix my bed. I get up, fix it, make it look real nice and pretty, go wash my face, brush my teeth. But now I do it, and I have a different ritual of doing it now. And I feel good when I'm done with it. Then I go into my prayer and meditation room, my rose gold room, as I call it. I light my candles, I light my incense, I do my prayer, I meditate, I listen to my messages, and then I start my day. Now this podcast is included in those mornings. And I love it. You know why? It's because as I'm talking to you and I'm taking you through this journey, I'm going through this journey again as well. And I am so happy to continue to keep learning and going through this journey as well. So as I do my research, I go through it. Then as I'm speaking to you, I go through it. As I edit, I go through it. And I love it. And I love it. Well, this comes to the end of our show, and we've covered a lot today. From building self-belief to using it as tools to overcome obstacles and cultivate better relationships, and even deepen our self-love for ourselves. Remember, believing in yourself is a choice and a practice, and it's something that you can strengthen each day. Now, for more on this, you can look at it. Like I said, I have several different ebooks. I have my self-love ebook, and then I have the unlocking your door to success. And you could go on my Stand store. I will put in the description down below the link that you can go right now. Unlock the success, that's free right now. And the self-love one, I think it's like maybe $9.99 or something like that. It's not a lot. But that's where you can download yourself, and you can print them up, and you can do as you please with it. Or as well, you go to my YouTube page, Nyomi's World, and there is a 30-day self-love, practicing self-love videos that I have on there. And the thing is, you can go at your own pace, and you can do it as many times as you want to, to help you through. Oh, love this. But I will be back on Monday. I want you all to enjoy your weekend. Oh, yeah, and it's Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all of my veterans out there that are listening now. I thank you for your service, as always. And look, to continue nurturing your beliefs, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And if you know of anyone that need any of this information, please feel free to share it with them. Let them know that we got some good stuff going on over here. We do. And just say, oh, that's a good one over there. That's a phenomenal individual over there, speaking some good stuff. All right, so until next time, keep believing in the power within. It's there. I promise. Thank you for listening to the Season of Self-Love podcast. If you have any questions or would like to connect with us, you can follow us on social media. Just search for the Season of Self-Love on Instagram. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to email us at elevateme9999@gmail.com. And remember, you are worthy of love, growth, and happiness. So keep shining bright, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Season of Self-Love. Be good to one another and yourselves, and always keep it sexy. Sending light, love, and prayers.